Millions of Americans are at risk of losing food stamps next month amid shutdown. Millions of Americans are at risk of losing food stamps next month amid shutdown. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, who teach and who rule well. You know, the men that we learn this truth from, you know, to bring the Negro, the Latino, and Native Americans, you know, back to the Heavenly Father. You know, Shalom to you. Okay, Shalom, you know, to the elect lady as well. Okay, many of Americans are at risk of losing food stamps next month amid shutdown. Okay, and we've been giving you warning after warning after warning, week in and week out, on a daily basis, doing videos, going to the camps, the highways, and the hedges to warn you that, you know, a famine is coming, a great famine is on the way, and also this system is going to basically turn their back on you. Okay, you know, government shutdowns, food rationing, job loss, a digital, all digital system, cashless society, sedition, you know, all these things are prophecy. All of these events are written in the prophecies. You know, starvation is coming to America, man. And prior to this article that I'm getting ready to read, you know, I was just scrolling through the internet, social media, and all these platforms, and you have a lot of mothers, a lot of women who are basically posting threats. If they don't receive their SNAP benefits this coming month, they're going to raid this grocery store. They're going to loot. They're going to steal, walk out, you know, with buggies and steal. Okay? So the squeeze is coming. It's getting ready to be very tight here in Babylon, man. And by the way, this place is Babylon, man. Mystery Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. Where our Lord image was crucified, where the Israelites, a bulk of the Israelites, are enslaved and they're treated evil. You know, we were brought here to serve captivity, slavery. And with that being said, you know, it's a need for the prophets to be in the streets to warn you not to be too comfortable. Because trouble is on the way, man. Calamities, you know, is coming. Mourning, great sorrow. As a matter of fact, before I read the article, that's a perfect scripture to basically give you, you know. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect, and keep the, faith. Keep believing. 2ESDRAS16-18. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? That's a question that Ezra asked. Ezra was communing with the angel Uriel, which is one of the 7 holy angels who was sent to give a series of events that's going to happen on the earth to Ezra the prophet, which, if you believe is truth, you must have an apocrypha, which are the missing books of the Bible. Apocrypha, meaning hidden books. Okay? And, that Bible was removed, those books were removed, out of the Bible by Esau Edom, the Bible description group, to basically hide their history and hide the fact that we are the Israelites. Okay? Why did Ezra say, woe is me? Because the angel Uriel gave him a series of events of what will take place on the earth. In the time of, in the last days, the calamity that will hit this place. And Ezra knew that he would be back. Okay? And we're in those times right now. We're in those times where the series of events popping off leading up to the destruction of Esau Edom's kingdom. Okay? The end of his world, Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Okay, there are about to be great sorrows and great mournings. That word mournings, okay? I just want to see what Google say about the word mourning. Mourning is the process of feeling or expressing grief after a loss, especially a death. Okay? Grief, man. These people in Babylon is finna be in great mourning, dealing with a whole lot of grief. Because what? The conditions that you're going to be put in, man. Mourning, lament, lamentation. That's what's about to take place in Babylon. It say, reading on, the beginning of famine and great death. You see that? Starvation is going to hit Babylon. And you should know by now when we say Babylon, we're speaking about America. Great famine is about to hit Babylon, man. They say the beginning of famine and great death. Okay? It's going to be a whole lot of death here to come. Okay? Very soon. There's no coincidence that you're hearing about food shortages. Truck strikes. Limited items in the store. Last but not least, Esau Edom pushing his enterprise, the MOTB, the charagma, you know. But you should be greatly aware of that right now. You should be aware of what the charagma is. You know? It's the beginning of wars. The beginning of wars. And that's exactly what you see. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. Okay? The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? You see that? What shall I do when these evils come? Now we telling you, man, you know, you got to rely on the Heavenly Father in that time, okay? If you don't have a certain amount of faith, you know, hoard up, then you're going to give in to Esau Enterprise, his system. This is Esau's system that he's getting ready to push a cashless society, okay? And, you know, he's going to call many to go, you know, after the beast. They're going to bend the knee when they're facing some harsh conditions, some things that they're not used to. That's what's coming, because you Americans, you have been receiving financial aid, you know, basically all your life. You've been receiving financial aid, SNAP EBT, jobs, you know. You don't even have to have a job to eat here in America, you know. You got food banks, you got churches for do food drives. There's many different avenues for people to eat, man. So these Americans really don't understand what starvation is, but they about to find out very soon. You know, they're about to find out very soon what starvation is. The scripture speak about famines. The scripture speaks about starvation. You know, the world is about to face a global famine. You know, and a lot of you don't believe that because, you know, nothing really major have hit America yet, man. Nothing really hit this place yet. So you Americans are overly comfortable, man. But see, the Lord is getting ready to break that comfortability, man. So if you're not sealed with the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and the faith of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you through. And the people don't really understand how through they are, man. You know, I think it left. Let's see. So there's about to be a lot of mourning, lamentation. Salakia. Let me get this. So reading the title again, it say millions of Americans are at risk of losing stamps next month amid shutdown. Okay, so you got the government shutdown that's going on, which you should be paying attention to that right now. Okay, and you've been hearing over many years about the government shutdown, man. People have gotten a taste of what it feels like to basically, you know, have, you know, money. People was receiving, you know, all kind of financial aid around 2019. But the thing about it, there was not enough product. you know, on the shelves, man, because of the truck strikes and basically the ports are being affected. So product wasn't moving into Babylon at a normal rate that it usually receives. So like it, you know, they wasn't receiving product, and that's going to come again. This next wave could be permanent. This next wave can be permanent. And many Americans are going to feel it, man. Many Americans are going to feel it. Many people are going to be mourning. You know, you already got a wave of women that's basically saying they're going to steal. Okay? It's a roughly 42 million people are at risk of losing critical food assistance in November amid the federal government shutdown. And it's not clear whether the Trump administration will step in to find the funds to continue paying benefits as it has with other priorities. You see that? There is really no financial security in Babylon, man. You know? With this shutdown going on, 42 million people are at risk. You know, and this thing is really not about a color thing right here, because you have more, you know, white recipients, these devils, these Edomites that relies on assistance just as well as Jake do. But they use Jake as the face card of, you know, welfare. But there are actually a lot of Edomites that depend on welfare as well. So the whole system is going to be shaken up. Everybody is going to be affected. Okay? They saying it's not clear whether the money's going to be there. You know? The food stamp program will run out of money in 2 weeks. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins told reporters at the White House on Thursday. So you're talking about millions and millions of vulnerable families. And we live in America where you have family of 5. You know, the dad is gone, the mother is at work. There's vulnerabilities on every side here in America, Babylon. Especially with you women, because you women gonna feel it the most. Because you rely on the system the most. You rely on the system the most. There are a lot of single families. There are a lot of families, man. Family of 5, family of 4. You know, one woman can't handle that type of pressure. And by the way, women fold under pressure. You know? Women fold. So great sorrows and great mournings is about to hit the foundation of this place, man. We're living in a time which is really beautiful to the men of the Lord, the ones who are in this truth that have the faith. It's beautiful because we're literally watching this place crumble, as you should be throwing up the curses for the Lord to destroy this place, man. And the people here are very fragile, man. You know, very fragile. You know, carnal. 2ESDRAS16-18. Behold, famine and pestilence, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord is the one that sent these plagues. The Lord is the one that's going to send these plagues on Babylon as a form of judgment to put an end to Esau's kingdom and bring judgment upon the people. These things are set up by the Lord. Plagues, sickness, diseases. You know, the Lord can cleanse the earth with simply just diseases all over the place, man. It's killing people off by the thousands. Many more plagues are going to hit this place. And by the way, famine is a plague. Tribulation. We're living in a time of trouble. Tribulation going into trouble. Bad times. The Hebrew word is rayam, you know, or rai. You know, which is bad times, man, and anguish. People are going to be in anguish of spirit when they can't go right or left. They don't know where to go for food. These people don't have basic survival skills. They don't know how to fish and gut animals. You know, people not cut like that, man, to be able to open up an animal, gut it out, cut the head off. Everything they buy is already packaged up in the store. So these people are real fragile and don't even realize it. When you think about food, people think about just going to what? Your local Walmarts, your Sprouts. You got Kroger's, you got Target, you got Whole Foods. You got all these different lines of resources for food. These grocery stores, man. Very soon, that's going to be cut. By the way, major corporations are closing down a lot of stores. So your food source is being compromised as I speak. 200 Walmarts closing. Target, Starbucks. These people, BJ, all these major corporations are closing down. We're literally watching Babylon close down. Call all your habashim al shabashim rakakodash. Because if you understand this truth, that's the spirit you should be in. The spirit of, praying to the Lord to cut the lifeline of this place, man. Verse 20, for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of the scourge. Okay? Let's go back. They say about 1 in 8 Americans receive help. About 1 in 8 Americans receive help buying food through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, the former name for food stamps, a key pillar of the nation's safety net. A key pillar of the nation's safety net. The program provides enrollees with an average monthly benefits of $188 per person as of May. And 100, that's the average person, $188. In a time where food prices are hiking up. $188 can barely feed, because of prices. You can run through that, in a week. Which that's going to bring on what? Food rationings. Because that's what's going to happen. And we've seen a little, around 2019, 2020, you saw little specks and increments of food rationing. Certain things wasn't available in the stores. The prices went up. The prices of eggs, the prices of beef, even, stuff like bread, milk, dairy. These things are spiking up, man. And what it's leading us to is a major famine, which the Bible, the earth is not new to famine. There have been many famines, throughout the period of history, man. 2ESDRAS16-18. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, and when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. You see that? 2ESDRAS16-22. And suddenly, meaning what? All of a sudden, instantly, shall the sown places appear unsown. See, the average American is used to going in the storehouse, which is what's the modern day storehouse? The grocery stores, your meat houses, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Bi-Lo's, BJ's, Kroger's, Whole Foods. Those are the storehouses. The average American is used to seeing the storehouses full. But what about when they suddenly be found empty? People are going to get desperate. People are going to get carnal, impulsive. You got women. I'm going to play this video before I close out, man. You got, women freaking out already. So let me get this video. Watch a little bit of this, man.
One of the things students love about culinary school online with the Scofier is the toolkit.
Bitch, they trying to get rid of our food stamps? They trying to get rid of food stamps? They trying to get rid of EBT, electronic benefits? They put it on freeze? What? Why everybody, why am I passing arguments in the streets? Like, I'm coming out of my apartment, people is arguing. I'm sitting here in the parking lot, motherfuckers is behind me arguing. I wish y'all could see it. This shit is crazy. Man, temperatures is high. People straight tripping. I'm just listening. It's crazy. I'm going to the gym because, baby, the way things is going, my anxiety, I need help.
That's another thing. The scriptures speak about anxiety, man. People are going to, hearts failing them for fear. People are going to not be able to handle that pressure because these Americans are fickle. They weak. They're not built to deal with any situation, man. They don't know nothing about living, basic survival skills, living out in the woods, how to eat if you can't go to a grocery store. They don't have any hunting skills. They don't know anything about the bow, That's a great, wisdom is knowing, like, how can I eat regardless if I got a gun to shoot? You got the bow, you got basic survival, sharpening wood, turning them into arrows to be able to hunt. To give you an example, Native Americans. And you go into the Native American history, they was good with the bow. That's how they hunted their food. These people don't know nothing about that, man, now. These people have been living comfortably since they've been here. Most people can't get outside their jobs. They don't know. Outside of a job, they completely lost. They don't even know how to survive. And by the way you entitle women, you're going to feel it the worst because you're the ones that benefit the most. You women that are entitled, you feel like the government owe you something. You feel like they have to, you're entitled. You must feed me. You must give me these things or else.
So I'm gonna go to this gym. I'm gonna exercise because I need to release something and I need to receive something. Oof, that's deep. Oof, yes. It's getting crazy out here in these streets, man. I'm gonna have to go back to my days of stealing. Take what you need.
Boom, I'm going to have to go back to my days of stealing. This is the mentality of the average woman here in Babylon or the average person here. If I can't get this way, I go get it that way. Well, that's exactly what they want you to do. They want a chaotic society. They want people looting. They want people because it gives them the reason to lay your ass down, to incarcerate you. Because we're ahead. What they don't understand, you can do that all. You can do it, go right ahead. But they don't take away the fact that the society is getting ready to be draconian style. Yeah, we in them times now, man. You know, it's gonna get crazy. Oh, you stole that pack of meat? 20 years in jail, 20 years in prison. And we gonna let you out on the one condition. Give me that right hand. Draconian style.
There's a part that says take what you need. And shit, I'm gonna have to take what I need. Nah, hopefully. You know what? I ain't gonna lie. You know, God provides everything that I need. Everything that.
The moment you decide to do that, that's when you're gonna find out this man is the his blessing is the sword, man. Cause he saw them bear that sword in vain. He's gonna swing that motherfucker, man.
I need. He gave me these kids. He gonna make sure they get fed. And that's period. Like, he gave them to me. He gonna make sure that they get fed. He gonna make sure everything is okay. And I know it. I trust that and I believe that. And I stand on that. And
Where is the level of accountability? Where is the child's parents? Right? Where is your ability to continue to work? Maybe you need to put in some extra hours. Maybe you need to take a second job. Maybe you need to do some gig work. When did it become everybody else's, the taxpayers?
First of all, it ain't gonna be no more jobs. So that's, you know, hey, there ain't gonna be no more jobs. You know? How about that? It ain't gonna be no more jobs. Let's go back real quick. Isaiah 19 and verse 14. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his own vomit, in his vomit. Verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. No work in Egypt, man. The job market is crashing. The companies can't really afford to keep running the companies due to inflation, you know, tariffs, wars, and many other subjects that contribute. They're losing money. They can't afford to hire you. Verse 16, in that day shall Egypt be like women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Women are very fickle, and you can clearly see that. Women are fickle, man. Fragile. That's Egypt is gonna be like women.
Responsibility to ensure that your kids is taken care of. And then if you don't get what you want, you could just go steal. And she not no. Let's be clear. She's not capping. She's telling you what her original, authentic thoughts are. And yes, these people is willing to kill. They willing to steal. They willing to do everything except for go and take care of business. What do you mean you about to go to the gym to release some anxiety because you heard everybody else arguing outside? And basically what they doing is they listening to what people is talking about on social media. Listen, bro, these people are. I don't even know what made them think that they were in a position to have a child in the first place. If this is the mentality, if this is the mindset, if this is the perspective that you have about yourself, your own self worth, I wouldn't even be able to live with myself. I made up in my mind I ain't never asking the government for anything to make sure that my child is taken care of. And y'all basically have tethered yourselves to the government to where they became your daddy. And this is one of the things.
That's absolutely correct. The government have became their daddies. Welfare. This is the main reason why a lot of women wasn't allowed to have a man in the house. It was a social construct, man, and these women fell victim. This is why you see women pouncing around. I don't need a man. I'm a boss bitch. I can do bad all by myself. You know, it was a trick to trick you out of your hedge. A man is a hedge of protection. How much more an elect man? So women about to find out that you actually need a man. They finna, and a majority. Let's say this: majority of men in Babylon have turned their backs on these women. They're not approaching them. They're not wifing them. You know what I'm saying? They sitting back in the cut. You got a lot of men who have exited Babylon, going to other countries, finding foreign women, foreign wives that have some kind of value, man. You might have a man that's living over here in Babylon that make $100,000 a year. They can afford to travel. They can afford to go in another country and build a house or do something to find another wife. So these women in Babylon are about to be sick, man. They're about to be sitting back with they just scrape for grab, man. The entitlement of the women that think that the government is obligated to take care of you is crazy work, man. This is the land of your captivity, man.
That's wrong with the community in the first place. This is the thing that's wrong with America, is that everybody feel like they deserve something because they observing what everybody else is getting and they think that they know. And I think that this is highly disrespectful and it's highly, very much, a reflection of your character.
Always have.
So you're telling me that food stamps are off next month, and keep in mind it hasn't even gotten to next month, right? It's like not even next month yet, but a lot of you just got your food stamps like less than a week ago, and or haven't even gotten it for this month yet. And you're telling me that because you're scared it might not come this month, you're already prepared that your children are not going to eat next month?
Attention homeowners, if your house was built before 2019, I want to buy your house.
Eat next month. You're already saying that as a parent, you will do nothing from here till then to make sure that your children have food in their bellies, and that your children will not feed or not be fed, and it's because of Trump and the government, and we need to blame them right now because that's their fault.
Now what?
That is a wild perspective to me also. If you tell me that I'm about to get laid off, right? And you say, Anton, you got a month to get yourself together. If you don't think that I'm already have another job, and not only am I gonna have another job, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna get every dime from the job that I'm currently at before I move over into another job, and I'm gonna transition over into it. You ain't even got to tell me that you're gonna be letting me go within a month. I'll tell you this. I was already looking. I was already looking the entire time before you have even told me. So by the time everybody else finds out, I'm already gone. I'm not waiting. I'm preparing myself. I'm in a position. And so, that's the mentality that I think that people need to have towards government assistance or social services at all. Meaning that I am going to be looking to get off of food stamps way before they talk about the possibility of not being on food stamps.
Exactly. See, food stamps been a crutch. The food stamp been a lifeline for you women, man. This is why they ditch their husbands. Because the government have became your husband, man. But see, that security is leaving now. And a lot of you women, you're gonna be you're gonna dwell in sorrow, man. You're not gonna have any help, you know. And this is the Lord bringing judgment upon this place, man.
And so now y'all got a month, at least a month, to figure out how you can make an extra $2, $3, $4, $500, which is crazy to me that y'all getting that per month. How you can make this extra amount of money to ensure that your kids eat well, and you're sitting on here complaining, talking about you can't wait to go steal, you can't wait to go to Walmart and take things and just walk out. I seen women saying that they're gonna punch people in the face if they follow them to the car. You willing to risk your freedom, meaning that you willing to go to jail, right?
Right.
And people are disrespectful towards themselves as well as disrespectful towards the opportunity in society. And this is why a lot of people want to get over here so bad because they recognize the opportunity that's in front of them. And then it's a lot of other people on here that don't take advantage of it, and they feel like the government owes them everything. Is wild.
Because that's their fault.
Now, what I'm about to say is definitely going to ruffle some feathers, but let your feathers be ruffled. If the shoe fits, the shoe just goddamn fits. When it comes to government assistance, whether it's SNAP benefits, WIC, HUD, income-based apartments, Medicaid, all of that government assistance stuff, if you need it, that's what it's there for. It's there for you to get you to where you want to be. It's there for you. If you have a job, get a better job. Go to school. You don't have nobody to watch your kids. That's what it's for. It's for mothers and people and elderly people to get back on their feet. With that being said, once you receive those government services, that doesn't mean you just live on it for the rest of your days here on this earth. There are so many people who need those type of assistances that can't get it because the people who got it 20 something years ago, 5+ years ago, are still on it.
And trying to.
She made a good point. It was never designed for you to be on it for 30 years of your life, man. You know, it was created as a foundation to catapult you to the point where you no longer need them, man. But women have gotten way too comfortable, and now the comfort's being moved, and now what you see threats, you see aggression. Okay, the squeeze is gonna get tighter, man. I'm gonna end off on Revelations 18:8. Let's keep going.
Pass it down like an inheritance.
Mm-hmm. And this is coming from a black woman. This is coming from a woman who had those type of government services. You're supposed to be, if you're not working, you're supposed to be in school so you can get a better job and get you and your children a better place to go. You're supposed to be receiving those SNAP benefits because you can't afford to put groceries in your house. So you should be doing things in your life to better your situation so that you will never need those things again, and it can go to somebody who's in the shoes that you were in and trying to get better. Income-based houses, receiving SNAP benefits, all of those, you should only be able to keep those benefits if you're working. Either if you're working, if you're in school, if you're disabled, or if you're elderly, or if your child is disabled, or if you're elderly. But I feel like in order to keep those benefits, you have to work.
That's all that Trump said. Everything that she's saying is what the Trump administration is saying. Like, she is not, well, maybe it's because it comes from her, it might be a little bit different. So we're going to give her some grace. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give her some grace about the house coat, the night clothes, the bonnets, and all of that stuff. We're not gonna focus on that right now because that's not the topic of conversation. We're gonna keep the topic of conversation on the facts. And the fact of the matter is that all of these things that she's saying is not nothing new. This is what the Trump administration has been advocating for a long time. Nobody should be surprised about it. And it's not supposed to be a lifetime. It's supposed to be a lifeline. Man, I just cooked with that. I ain't even come up with that. Like, this is right off the top of the dome. I ain't even. But no, she's right. It's not supposed to be for you to pass down generation to generation. It's supposed to be for temporary assistance.
Right.
Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon.
See that? It wasn't meant for you to be a lifeline, bro. Those comforts being removed because guess what? Babylon is getting destroyed. You know, Revelations 8 and 8, and I'm going to close it out. Revelations 8 and 8 is basically speaking about the downfall of Babylon. You see that? You see that? The next verse 9, grief over Babylon. Revelations 18, verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashim, Rakakodash. You know, Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.